Hey guys, so I am back today because I wanted to do an update, like I told you in my last video, on Professor X, this account that I play for Xaereth, his alt, and Conquest, and how it's going. So this account does not have Rey and does not have Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, so two of the Galactic Legends that are going to make this Conquest series a lot easier, already missing off the bat. And I wanted to kind of give you like a halfway update on how things are going and if Red Crate is possible. And I am happy to tell you that it is without Kylo and Rey. So before we get into it, basically what I'm going to show you is the roster overall, just so you kind of have an idea of the teams that I'm working with specifically. The Datadisks that I'm using on this account, I'm not swapping Datadisks back and forth to get Feats done. I'm just kind of making my way through and making the disks that I have equipped work for me. And then I want to also show you two battles in particular. One is Inquisitor wins on this account. Because this account has weaker Inquisitors than even my account does. And then I also want to show you First Order wins in Sector 5 because that one is a really big factor. And then I'm going to show you the feats that we're skipping as well on this account because that's a huge thing. This Conquest is overall, I don't want to say it's more grindy. I would say it has a lot more stamina management involved. There are a lot of teams that tend to overlap, which means that you're going in to try other feats that are taking away your stamina from other teams that you're using to do a different feat for. And it's just a lot of overlap that way, which makes it a little bit trickier to manage, but it is totally doable. So that said, I want to show you everything in the game first, and then I'm going to show you those two videos afterwards. So let's have a look here, guys. All right. I'm sorry for the weird framing in advance. It is on my phone. So let's just go look where we're sitting right now in Conquest. So we're about halfway through. And this is pretty much on par for this account every month that I play it. Usually around this point, we sit around the 400, 450-ish key card range. And then things just pop as this week goes on. So we're sitting here. There are a few feats that I'm skipping that I will point out right away. So a bunch of them are global feats. We're getting the First Order and Resistance wins, no problem. I'm doing them in Sector 1 on this account, and I will show you the two teams that I'm doing for those. But I'm doing them on the Datacron node there. The win 20 battles is pretty straightforward. In hindsight, I would recommend doing this winning 20 battles with Han and Kylo Ren unmasked a lot faster than starting it quote unquote now, especially because you'll get that data disk that can be helpful. I'm managing without it, but if you need that data disk to get some of these feats done, the Deadly Catalyst data disk, then that feat is pretty straightforward to rush through. And to be honest, I am finding that I don't need Kylo Ren unmasked on the First Order team to get the wins. So I'll show you the team that I'm doing without him as well. I'm going to skip these defeat 100 enemies feat with Kylo or Supreme Leader because obviously we don't have Supreme Leader on this account. And you can do this with Kylo Ren. You can kill 100 enemies with Kylo Ren. I've seen people doing it that don't have Supreme Leader Kylo. I don't have the patience for it, which is why I'm choosing to skip it and go after Inquisitor feats instead. Because I am going to skip that, it means that I have to skip the War of Attrition feat here, the 0 out of 60. I'm not going to get the data disk for it, so I can't do it. Once I finish Han and Kylo, I'll be able to get this Deadly Catalyst disc and do that one, no problem. And then, of course, Dyad and the Force, I have to skip because you need to have Supreme Leader Kylo or Rey to make this work. It does not work with Ben Solo as the summon. So if you don't have either Galactic Legend, it is an automatic skip. So those are the global feats I'm skipping. And then in, I believe it's Sector 4 on the boss. Yeah, it's here. The boss here, you have to win with Supreme Leader Kylo surviving. Obviously, I can't do that one. So that puts me at, if you're doing the math, that puts me at 35 key cards skipped entirely, which means I have 0 wiggle room. I have to be perfect on every node. So I will have some cleanup that I have to go back and do. But the feats are totally doable. So I do want to show you in Sector 1. I won't play out the battle only because I don't have the stamina regenerated for them yet. But these are the teams that I'm using for First Order and Resistance. So First Order, I'm taking the Hux lead. You don't need crew, as I mentioned. Kylo, he is the only relic character on this team, and he's Relic 1. And then I'm going to take a Gear 11 Sith Trooper, a Gear 12 Fox, and a Gear 12 First Order. So this is the team that I'm using on the Datacron node. It is working really well. The general idea is just to get Bosk out of the way quickly and then manage everyone else. Kylo is great for stuns. Fox is great for stuns. And then Hux and First Order Officer are turn meter swapping as much as possible back to Kylo. Sith Trooper, if you can do his second special to cleanse, because you are going to be burning from Jango, it is really great there. You'll get advantage, and then he's going to hit hard if anyone dies. Usually if I lose anyone in this, it's Hux, believe it or not, which is fine. I would rather lose Hux than Kylo Ren. But this is the team that I'm using for this feat. And then on the exact same Datacron node for Resistance, I am going in with JTR lead. So she's Relic 7 because we have Jedi Master Luke on this account. And then we have a Gear 11 BB-8. I pretty much always go in with him around the 80 to 90% stamina because I am double dipping him for the droid wins. R2 and then the Resistance bros. So again, it's just about management here. I tend to go after Bosk first just to get so that we're not stuck behind his taunts. But you've got R2 for stuns, and then Resistance Hero Finn is great for his second special to get some healing back if your characters are lacking. But it's all about control with JTR. So those are the two teams that I found that work really well, and because of that, I'm able to keep crew aside and do the Vet Han and crew team with no issues going against my First Order wins that way. So that is those two teams. These are the discs that we have equipped right now. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not swapping them around at all. So we have 3 Amplify Agony. They're all white. I did not find a single Amplify Agony that was not a white version. But the great news is it is working even with them being the lowest version that you can get. I think the big thing here, honestly, is Blindside. This is a huge disc that I would grab right away the next time I see it. Being able to put Expose on the enemies makes it so much easier to chew through them before they chew through you, especially with a weaker First Order team, a weaker Inquisitor team, anything like that, where you just kind of need to survive by the skin of your teeth and get through those 14 wins. It's been very good. Ruthless Swiftness is great for the turn meter gain because, again, the more turns you can take, the more you can take advantage of that Amplify Agony, the blind sides, and just get through them a lot quicker before they're getting through you. I have a Volatile Accelerator, and then that's the third Amplify Agony. So it's a pretty standard build. Like I said, I'm not changing it right now. Just kind of keeping it as it is, going through the feats. And then when I get to the end of Conquest, I'll switch things up to finish up the feats that required discs to be swapped. So that is pretty much what's going on with this account. I will show you the roster overall just so you have an idea on teams, and I'll show you the teams specifically that I am using. So this is the 501st team. 501st I use pretty religiously on this account to get through the sectors. It's been really great, obviously, for armor shred and just in general when you're coming up against a team that, you know, you kind of want to just get through quickly and 3-star the node, but you don't want to use your Galactic Legend because you're trying to save their stamina, anything like that. Pretty straightforward. I don't use the bounty hunters too much on this account, or just in general in Conquest. But if you wanted to use bounty hunters, it's pretty straightforward and simple. This is generally what they're looking like for most people that use bounty hunters in Conquest. I wouldn't go in honestly without Grief and Mando, because you want the healing and you want the you want Mando's Disintegrate to be working for you in your favor. We are also using, so just again, so you can see the First Order on this account, because we are getting the 40 wins with First Order. We're going to get the 50 kills with First Order in Sector 5. And it's pretty great that, you know, there's only 2 that are relic, and they're both relic 1. So it's not they're crazy high here. Okay. The big team is Galactic Republic. This team, or faction I should say, is easily split into 2. I can do a Jedi Master Kenobi team with Kat, and then I'm also able to do a Padme team. I can do Padme with just support characters when I have Zealous Ambition discs on. Obviously right now I don't, because I chose to go with the blind side, but typically Padme is going to be one of your stronger characters as well, but I'm also just throwing her underneath Jedi Master Kenobi to make him a bit more survivable. And then you've got Jedi as well, which is also pretty straightforward. I typically am using Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Knight Luke together, and then adding in other Jedi, depending on what the feats are that I'm working on, or honestly just depending on if I need a tank, and Jedi Master Luke is going to be the one that is the tank in that team to get some of these feats done. And then Resistance, because this is also another important faction. So you can see there are only 3 characters that are relict, and a lot of the characters that we're using aren't relict, believe it or not. So Rey is kind of doing all of the heavy lifting here. And I just realized I skipped Rebels. Rebels is also a pretty important one, mainly just for CLS, Han and Chewie. Like that's your team there. That's going to do a lot of the carrying for you. And then Separatists, because Grievous droids do a lot of fun work in Conquest in general. So they've been great just to kind of help, 1, get the droid kills in Sector 1, and 2, even just make my way through sectors when I don't want to rely on some of these other teams that, in my opinion, are better to take against stronger enemy teams so that you can 3-star them right away. So that is pretty much it. In terms of Sith, I am using Traya. So you can see she's relic 1 there. Palpatine I am using, but other than that, I'm not really touching the Sith faction very much. Vader's not really getting used this Conquest for me. It's just those 2 as pieces of teams, to get these feats done. So that is the roster and kind of where we're at with feats. I want to show you these 2 teams that I'm using to get the Inquisitor wins done and the First Order kills done in Sector 5. So we'll show you that, and then that's pretty much it. All right, guys, so the first team I want to show you is in Sector 5, and we are going to get Inquisitor wins here, going against a Geonosian team. So we're going to take Darth Traya lead so that they essentially kill themselves with her leadership ability. Watt, and I'm using Jedi Master Luke, but you'll want a tank basically to take their hits, and then Sith Trooper and Kylo Ren. So I just wanted to take 2 First Order characters that would be able to do a lot of damage. I didn't want to use crew in particular for the other global feat. But you're going to put the tank tech on Jedi Master Luke. I chose to do his AoE here just to kind of knock down their health as much as possible. And then I wanted to give the tank tech to Sith Trooper. Honestly, probably could have gone with either or, and it would have been fine. And you can see 1 hit from Sith Trooper took out 5 right away. And then you've got the last Geo did die from the dots. So 1 kill was stolen, but getting 5 in 1 go is honestly pretty awesome. So that is that. The next team I'm going to show you is Inquisitors. I could not get this team to work against Padme. These are the discs I'm using, so it's the exact same discs I showed you earlier in this video. I did, however, get this team to work against Bad Batch. So this is a Bad Batch team without Overprepared in Sector 4. And I did swap mods to make this happen, only on 2 of the characters though. So I'm going to show you all of the mods in general here, and you'll have an idea of kind of like speed targets to aim for and just what exactly is going on. So Fifth Brother I swapped mods on, and we got him up there to 264. Second Sister is 267 naturally. Ninth Sister 197. Seventh I swapped to get her to 267. And 8th we left alone. So only 5th Brother and 7th were swapped. I wanted them as fast as possible. So the idea here is they are gonna go because Echo is just fast, and you want, if you can get the counter from 5th Brother, you're golden. 5th Brother lead for extra survivability, and then you just want to try to get Echo out as soon as possible. If you can AoE to get the Amplify Agony working in your favor, and then that's it, guys. Like, you can see this team is, no one is gear 12. Like, they're all in between gear 8 and gear 11, and that is huge. All right, guys, so that is it for Conquest on Professor X. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this Conquest is going. I think it's really important to highlight that you can get Red Crate without him. So if that is something that you're shooting for, it's totally doable. If you feel like you need to readjust your plans or adjust your plans for the next Conquest run, that's why I wanted to get this out as soon as I possibly could. I just wanted to make sure I had everything, all the pieces lined up before I gave you any false information. So that being said, I want to remind you, if you are buying the Conquest Pass, which if you are spending any money in game, I will repeat this until I'm blue in the face, the $10 that you can spend on the Conquest Pass is, in my opinion, the best value you can spend in game. You get extra shards for Conquest, you get extra consumables to use to make it more useful, and because you're getting those extra shards, it gives you that leeway and that wiggle room with the other 2 Conquests in the series for that character being released. But you also get Omicrons in it, which is amazing. Honestly, I buy it just for the Omicrons. But if you are doing the pass and you have realized that you can get Red Crate now, and you think it's too late this Conquest, but you want to try and get Red Crate next Conquest, I just want to remind you that you can get Red Crate once and Gold Crate twice, assuming you've bought the Conquest Pass all 3 times, and you will still unlock the character in the first 3 runs. You just have to also buy the shards each time on the scavenger nodes. So make sure that you are ending each Conquest series with, or each Conquest run, with sectors 2, 3, 4, and 5, double checking that you've gone back and bought the character shards from there. If you aren't buying the Conquest Pass and you aren't getting Red Crate, but you're still getting Gold Crate, you will get Ben in the first 6 Conquests, basically. So while he's still part of the reward track, if you get Gold Crate consistently, you will still get Ben solo unlocked in 6 Conquests. The reason why I want to really highlight that is because it is so important, in my opinion, for you to have the character on your roster, even if you can't use the character yet, or you don't want to use the character. I would rather have it on your roster. You don't need to gear it, but you now don't need to worry about Proving Grounds in the future. You don't have to do that event. You don't have to worry about burning crystal refreshes there to chase a character that you all of a sudden find that you need because something else has come out down the line that makes this character even more powerful or even more viable. So just some kind of food for thought. I would rather it sit on your bench, so to speak, even unactivated, but then you don't have to worry about it later on. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, guys, that's it. Let me know how Conquest is going. If you have any questions or feedback or anything like that, I would love to hear them, and we will see you next time.